Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rukokodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So, Shalom Akim. I want to go ahead and start this lesson by going into what the Passover is. Right, today is the Passover. Okay, and today is the day that us Hebrew Israelites, the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, should be celebrating instead of the upcoming pagan holiday, which is Easter. That the world who ignorantly follows Jesus Christ, which is not his real name. His name is Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Right? That stands for He is salvation. Well, the Passover is the actual spring holiday of the Most High. Okay, it's not only is it the first holiday of the year, it is the Hebrew New Year. Okay, and it was also known for other things like this, right? When the Messiah had the Last Supper with the 12 apostles, this was Passover. Okay, and this was a commandment that we keep this holiday, because when you go into the Hebrew calendar, the Lord, He gave us Israelites, the chosen people of God, who descend from Adam and descend from all those who the Lord selected over their other contemporary, all the way down till it got to our forefather Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Well, our people were given these laws, and these laws included to observe special days. Now, as you can see here, on Nisan 1st, in the middle of Nisan 1st, you have the Passover and the unleavened bread. Now, Passover, this signifies the passing over of the Israelites in Egypt. Okay, you see, when we were captives under the Pharaoh in Egypt, the Lord, as one of the plagues upon our captive nation, brought plagues, including the angel of death, which, when you get into it and you break it down, it was actually Yahweh Shai, right, the coming Messiah. But this is him when he was doing that work in Egypt. Well, on this night, the firstborn of every heathen and of their animals had died, had been killed. And the sign for the angel of death to pass over the Israelites was to basically paint the lintel of your door with the lamb's blood, which was sacrificed for that night. And from that event, ever since that, this is where you have the Passover remembrance feast. Okay, and let's go back to this, and let's just read through this. It says, the feast of unleavened bread, a solemn assembly. So again, this isn't supposed to be a party, right? You're not supposed to have this at a club. You're supposed to have this at your house with your family and those who you invite over that are of this truth, because it is only Israelites who can partake of the Passover, and also those Israelites that are worthy, meaning you have to be in this truth and you have to actually be observing of the laws. Because if you were to eat or perform this ceremony without being part of this, without being worthy, then you ultimately can bring upon you serious curses. Okay, let's get back to this. It says commemorates the exodus from Egypt and the Israelites, who are the Negro, Latino, Native Indians, freedom from slavery under Egyptians. Let's read this. This is Exodus 6 and 6. Wherefore say unto the children of Israel, I am Yahweh, and I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage. and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments. All right, so this is what the Lord said he would do to us back in the time when we were in captives under the Egyptians. Because you see, the Lord, if you're unaware how us Israelites got into Egypt, first of all, let's go ahead and go back into the Bible timeline. We've all heard a story of when Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers into Egypt, and eventually he rose there to be the second in the kingdom, basically a president of Egypt. Well, eventually Joseph, winning favor with Pharaoh, his boss, was permitted to let his family come in, and there were, a little bit over, I think like 70, 80 Israelites at this time that came into Egypt. Well, eventually in Egypt, our forefather Jacob passed away. He blessed Ephraim and Manasseh, and later on he would go on to bless his other 12 sons, who would later go on to create the 12 tribes of Israel, their descendants. That would be us Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. Well, over that time, us Israelites living in the land of Egypt, we had become prosperous because we grew strong, and ultimately to the point where the Egyptians started to fear us, thinking that we would join up with their enemies if they were ever to go against us. So what they started to do is put us in hard bondage, right? Basically debt slavery like it is today. Because again, in the Bible makes it very clear that history repeats itself, okay? And that's why us Israelites are in Egypt today again in these latter days, but it's not literal Egypt, it is spiritual Egypt, okay? And we're just as much in slavery today as we were back in the time of Egypt, right? This is why you see so many people complaining about everything's getting too expensive, that why is it that we have to pay to live on the earth, and why do we have to pay all these taxes and all these things? Well, it's because we're not here for prosperity. We're here in this land of captivity, right? Or as it tells us in Judges 5:11, the land of drawing waters, because we're the slaves here. And again, so this is why performing this ceremony, this Passover, is spiritual, because again, just like we were in captivity under Egypt in the old days, we're under Egypt again in these modern days. But the difference is this is a payment for going against the Lord, right? This is what we have to do to make up for going off. Well, just like back in this day when we became slaves in Egypt, they eventually oppressed us so much that the Lord decided it was finally time to raise up our first king, right? As the apostles say, because remember, Moses, he was a king as well, right? So he was the first king of Israel. So they rose him up, had him raised in the house of Pharaoh, and ultimately woke him up at the right time. And he eventually led the Israelites out of Egypt after the plagues, after the original Passover came. Well, that's what we're ultimately going to it's going to happen again, right? We're waiting for that second Exodus out of the country of the north, that being America, biblically known as Babylon the Great. But until then, we have to keep these commandments that were given to Moses, okay? And once we keep these commandments, or when we continue to keep these commandments, we're showing the Lord that we're abiding by the contract we made with him, okay? We're showing the Lord that we love him by keeping his commandments. And one of the commandments is to observe the laws, including keeping the high holy days. Let's read this. This is Exodus 12:14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. So you see that? So us Israelites, we're to be observing this holiday, okay? Now, let's go and take a look real quick at the calendar so you can see how this broke down. So you had the apostles, announced the beginning of Nisan 1st on March 9th. Okay, that's when the Sabbath started. Then we had our Sabbath and the second Sabbath, right, or on the 14th day of Nisan. This is the day that Sabbath comes in. Okay, this is today. And this is when it gets to night, when the sun sets, that's when the Sabbath comes in. So right before then, that's when you want to start cooking your lamb. You want to start preparing the meal and preparing your Bible and the menorah. And then what's going to happen is, for the next following week until the next Sabbath to the sunset, you're to eat no leaven, right? Nothing with yeast in it. Okay, to observe the time when us Israelites, we fled out of Egypt in such a hurry that we didn't even have time to let our bread rise. Okay, that's what that signifies. And also, it signifies the cleaning your own temple, your own body of byproducts or things that aren't good or things that are forbidden, right? Just as yeast is forbidden, we have to also remove from ourselves those things which are forbidden, right? The sin and all that stuff, and the same thing with the body. So the body of Israel, that is. Now, after that, let's go and take a look at the observance points. These are the things that you should be focusing on, while you're observing this Passover. It says, starts on the 14th Hebrew day of Nisan in evening, which is what we just went over. During the ceremony, you want to read Exodus 12 during the Passover ceremony. This way you understand what you're doing, and you can hear about how this was commanded and the laws of how to keep the Passover war, right? And it says, remove all yeast from your home during the Passover week and eat no leaven or yeast for the week. Roast lamb with fire only and eat on Passover evening. Break no bones of the lamb. Now again, if you have a lamb, a lot of times you're not going to get any bones with it, but if you do have any bones, don't break them, okay? Like it tells you in the Bible. And also, the easiest way to cook that lamb over fire is to cook it on a grill, okay? You don't want to grill it, you don't want to boil it, you don't want to put nothing, no seasoning, nothing. Just all it has to be cooked with is just the lamb, okay? And you're gonna just roast it. And remember, this is not like about an elegant meal. This is about just fulfilling the law, okay? With that, you're gonna eat with unleavened bread. So what I do is I get corn tortillas, okay, the organic kind, because those have the least amount of ingredients in them, right? You want to make sure that there's no yeast in the bread that you're gonna eat. And then it says, and bitter herbs. So I use horseradish. Okay, so what you do, you take the horseradish and you get a cheese grater and you just grate some horseradish, and that's it. And you put it in a little bowl, and you let everybody in the household grab some and put it on their plate. And while the ceremony is being read, while you're eating, you're supposed to just eat the bitter herb to understand, the bitterness of our captivity, right? To consider all the things that we did against the Lord, and and why we're thankful for Him passing over us with these plagues and not letting these judgments come upon us. It says, eat in haste and with your garments on. So again, this is not like put sweats on and just eat and chill and watch a movie. No, it's a ceremony. So you sit down, TV should not be on. You should have your meal, be fully dressed, including with your shoes on. And if you have a garment, men, you want to make sure to wear that, while you eat, and just eat as fast as you can. Not like competition eating, but don't sit there and talk and whatever. No, like it should be real quick. Just consume it, and that's it. Then move on. And then after you're done, that's when you could relax. But really, after you're done, what we do is we go ahead and you sit and you pray to the Lord, and you thank Him for letting you observe the Passover. It says, throw away all food or burn it by next morning. And it says, do not work on the first day of Passover week. So for example, what this means is when the Passover comes in, you just want to just call in, okay? Don't work that day, use a sick day, call out, take a vacation, whatever it is, but you should try as hard as you can not to work on the first day of Passover, that being today. And the Lord had mercy upon a lot of us, because Saturday the majority of us don't work. So again, it should be easy this year to keep that law. And it says, the last thing it says, only Hebrews can eat the Passover ritual meal. So again, like I said in the beginning, right, this is not a meal, it's a ritual. And being part of this ritual requires a certain commitment. And if you come and you eat this Passover, one, being an Israelite but not being worthy yet, not being taking this serious enough, then you can bring curses upon yourself. If you were to invite, let's say, a friend or somebody who's not a Hebrew Israelite, and they eat of this, it's a abomination to the Lord, right? This is not for them, okay? So don't even mention this to your friends, or nothing like that. So that's an important part, Akim. The next thing you want to do, like I was saying, the way that this normally is done is that you'll have a brother, right, the leader of the household, read Exodus and go through scriptures, Exodus 12 and 2, right, the beginning of the Hebrew New Year, discusses how Nisan is this new year for us, right? Or I'm sorry, the Passover is the new year for us. Okay, also Exodus 23 and 12 is the first day is Passover. The rest of the week is known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It basically breaks down how this Passover is to be kept. Luke 22 and 7. This is the Last Supper portion of the Gospel of Yahushua, right? To show that Yahushua did keep the Passover. Okay, and then also 1 Corinthians 5 and 7, right? That this way to let you know, and that way you could teach everybody that Yahushua, the Messiah, he is our Passover. Okay, so just like the blood from the lamb of the first Passover when we were in Egypt, we used that blood to signify that we were saved. Well, from the blood of the Messiah, that blood is what sanctifies us and has the angel of death pass over us, okay, during these times of judgment. This is why so much judgment is coming down on the earth, right? Just the other day, you had that terrorist attack over in Russia, okay? Then you're having, that lady who got found with dead stuffed in a duffel bag over in New York. And there's so many different stories, right? One of the twin girls, I think in Chicago, some guy stabbed her because she refused his come-ons. So you see, there's lots of judgments going out. And the thing is by performing this ritual, keeping the laws, you're showing the Lord that, you love him. And hence, when you do that and you understand that why the blood was shed for us, and you take that on, you now have this hedge of protection, spiritual protection, that will keep you away from these spiritual evils that are in the world today. Next, let's go ahead and like I mentioned, the apostles, they declared Passover right here. So March 23rd to March 30th, right? So it's today, right, at evening, all the way to the next Passover. Okay, this is until the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You had the Messiah and the apostles keep this. This is ultimately what you would want if you could have it, right? If you want to have a little thing there at your house, you want a shofar, right? A horn from a ram or a sheep. Okay, you get these off of eBay. I find that's probably the easiest place to find them and stuff. You also want to have your Bible. Okay, this is a nice Bible that the brother has. Right, this is actually in Paleo Hebrew. Okay, and go ahead and pause the video and get this image. This is the chapter 12 in Exodus. It also shows you it in Paleo Hebrew. So go ahead and pause the video, take screenshots so you have this for yourself. This is the next page. third page. And the fourth and final page. But this is the chapter that we should be reading, or that we, if you want to keep this ceremony, you want to perform it. This is the message or the story that we could go ahead and, be in remembrance of. And then remember that just as we had the Passover of this time, we're waiting for the next Passover to come, where the Lord is going to come back and take us out of the land of Babylon and return us back, into our homeland, that being the land of Israel, after we go through the wilderness, after we get these new bodies, and after, Lord willing, we survive to the end. Another thing what you should watch too, which is always a good watch, is the apostle Ramlab and the elders going through the ceremony on how to keep this. Okay, I'm gonna put a link. I uploaded it. I'm gonna put a link to this so you can watch it. But it's really cool because it shows you how to perform this. Okay, with the wine and everything. And besides that, just remember, Akim, this is a very special Passover because of all the things going on right now, man. Right? It's evident we're in the last days of the last days. Okay, those who understand the prophecies, understand what the Bible talks about, understand, that we're living in these very last moments, that these prophecies are playing out, right? And we're about to have, in the next couple of days, on April 8th, a solar eclipse, which is going to finish the crossing of America. Okay, it has the spiritual significance that the path that it takes looks like the last letter of the Hebrew character, the Tha, right, which signifies the end, right? Also, this is similar to the sign that was given to Nineveh, right, the sign of Jonah, which is the same sign that the Lord said that we would get in the last days, the sign of Jonah. Besides that, we also have the Boons-Ponce comet, right, also known as the Devil's Comet, right, because it has like little horns because of the ice volcano that's in it, that's basically ejecting a spray of ice vapor, right? If you look towards the if you're in North America, if you look towards the west, right at sunset, right, if you were to get your app, like a astronomy app, if you look towards the west, you should be looking at Pisces, okay, and which is the constellation known as Pisces, and just below it, you're gonna have Aquarius, or Andromeda, excuse me, and Andromeda is like butt area or lower down. That's where you're gonna see this comet, and that's where you can see this. So basically, look towards the west, down towards the horizon, and you may see like a tiny dot with like a weird smudge. That's the comet, okay, the Hell's Comet. Now it'll be more easier to see on around April 8th, right, around that time, when I think April 23rd is going to be where it's the most prominent, where you'll see it like 45 degrees up from the west, right, in dark night instead of like a dusk. So, but the whole point being, Akim, is that there's a lot of signs in the sky, and the Lord said that let these things be for signs and wonders. Okay, so we got to take that into consideration and know that the Lord is doing amazing things. So either way, Akim, hopefully this video was edifying to explain, a little bit more about Passover. Hopefully you, Akim, enjoy this Passover. May the Lord bless you and your family. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem B'Kol Dash to you, Akim. And I'll catch you, brothers, till next time. Shalom.